You were up there. That was a great idea.
Some server, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I got a ball rolling on it.
It's good.
As long as we can get them it's ridiculous. But it's new, I had no email.
Don't run, Mike, we don't want you to throw your back out.
You can tell them.
So down one strong bag.
I'm pretty sure.
Everybody's a commissioner.
All right, and we'll call this meeting to order. Join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Kirschner in prayer.
Okay, let's get a prayerful move here. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom in making the decisions for those we represent. We ask in a special way this holiday season that the spirit of Christmas permeates the souls of as many folks as possible, that we have peace within our families, within our towns, and within the country. We ask, as always, in a very special way, that you look over and protect those who are defending our freedoms and their families, especially this time of year. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Travis?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Ferguson?
Here. I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Tuesday, December 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Ferguson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Travis? That
Yes.
should be December 12th.
12, that's what I was doing. We have guests and we have a bid opening, so let's open the bid.
Sign-in sheet?
I can get up next time.
Standing's good.
Okay. Stacy called in sick, nobody answered.
She had to come in anyway.
Just come on in.
So we have a bid opening for a Ford Transit van for
Veteran Services.
Veteran Services. Okay.
Let's see, and the bid I got is from Tesco. They are out of Oregon, Ohio. And the total bid amount, $55,445.
Mike, did you bring a check for that? from Captain?
Yeah, I left it in my car. I'll
Okay,
get it.
thank you.
And that's the only one we got.
Okay. Veteran Services, would you like to go next? Do you have anything to offer?
In regard to the bid?
No?
Oh, in regard to our budget?
Yes.
Oh, yes, thanks.
You're so happy.
Oh, yes, every day. Yes. I will tell you, honestly, I have not been happy.
Uh-oh.
So I know what it's like. So there's no reason not to be.
Okay. Good to know.
I want to say thank you to all three of you for always supporting our office and working with us. And I also want to say thank you to your staff. You guys are always so supportive. You are patient and you are so helpful every time I call. Thank you. Our budget allows us to take the best care of Seneca County veterans. They don't give us any hassle. We are very frugal. The new bus. We transport to Toledo and Ann Arbor for medical appointments. We transport sick veterans. And the bus we have right now, she has over 100,000 miles on her, and she's starting to nickel and dime us here and there. It would be a fiasco if she broke down with a busload of sick veterans in Michigan. So we're going to move forward.
Especially in Michigan.
I'm sorry? especially in Michigan. But we're gonna move forward with hopefully the purchase of this new vehicle and be able to safely transport all our veterans. We're going to actually start transporting to Ann Arbor every day. And that's gonna be opening new doors for veterans to be able to have more services from the VA, more medical care, better health. So thank you
Great.
all. We're a great team, Seneca County, we work as a team.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Could you introduce the folks you have with you today?
Absolutely. This is Commissioner O'Million, he's our at-large commissioner. This is Rex, he is our AMVETS commissioner. This is Win Schubach, he represents the VFW. And Dave Young represents the VBA.
Everyone kind of knows me. I think I've been around for a while.
A day or so.
Yeah,
30 plus.
Yeah. And I want to thank those gentlemen for the hard work they do. They really make. We've had a lot of wonderful events for veterans here recently, and y'all put a lot of time into giving back, and we couldn't be more grateful for the community that you've built.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
I know this is a mutual admiration time, but I've sat here now for 5 years, and there are a lot of stories from a lot of counties that the Veterans Associations don't get along real well with the commissioners. So it's a wonderful relationship that we have, and hopefully it will continue for a long time.
I agree. It's nice to be able to work as a team. I do hear the same stories.
Thank you.
That'd be a hard way to get through the day.
Yep.
It would.
Agreed.
So.
All right, anything else?
Thank you.
No,
Thank
are we free to go then?
You are free to go. You're free to stay.
I
Freedom
do
is-
have a question. So we just take the bid and,
Yeah, review it and then let us know.
all right, at 1 o'clock?
Okay.
We have a meeting,
Okay.
so.
I have a question.
Sure.
Commissioner O'Million has a question.
Hi, just out of curiosity, our old van, I'm assuming this is all gonna go through, and I'm assuming that we're gonna get rid of the big white van. What is done with that? I have a colleague at the VFW that might be interested in purchasing it, if that's the route that it takes.
We have to auction it if they're getting rid of it, unless you get a trade-in value or something. I don't know if they'll do that, but usually
We were going to turn it over to you because
Okay.
you own it.
Right. That's
And
that's
then
why
if-
I'm asking the commission.
Yep, and we'd be required to auction it off.
Gov deals, or do we,
Yeah, we usually use Gov Deals.
so we put it online on govdeals.com?
Yeah.
Govdeals.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
I'll let
very
them know.
transparent.
I'll let them know.
You just have to go that route.
I just wanted to say that the van that we have now, if you remember, the Lutz family provided quite a donation so that we could purchase that van. Gene was transported many times, you know, to the Toledo and Ann Arbor facilities, and the family just wanted a vehicle that would transport people comfortably, not jostled and thrown all about. So that the family decided after his death that to make that donation. So but surely, I just want to say we appreciate the Lutz family for what they did a few years back with that van. that we
Thank you
have.
for recognizing that.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Good. All right. Administrator's report.
Just give you an update on where we're at. It's winding down. Budget Commission, as far as I know, did not make any adjustments to, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Jody, I'll get, I got it. Thanks.
They did not make any adjustments to the general fund on Tuesday, so any adjustments will come in on the 30th. We did get, sales tax isn't receipted in yet, but the report came out, which is actually really good. We've gotten for our 1%, 525,000, and our 0.5% is 262, which is up quite a bit from previous years and even last month, so, looks
Just
like.
so everybody knows, there's a 2-month lag on that.
Yep, so it'd be
that's
October
October's
sales.
sales.
So what she'll be receiving into the general fund is about 734. I asked her to go ahead and take out the bond payment and see if she'd send me that number, so we're gonna get a good sales tax.
So I just want to make sure I understand. Where'd you come up with 734? I got, at 526 and 263, I got 789. The bond is about 100?
Well, I was estimating high, it's about 50,
Okay,
so,
okay.
I was just being conservative.
Yeah, good thought. So, it's closer to 50 than it is 100?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she said it'd be about 734 is what she'll be receiving into the general fund for that. So we are sitting now at $17,009,876.38 as of today. That obviously does not include the sales tax yet. And our expenses, I'll give an update. Year-to-date expenses is $17,068,321. So we're sitting good. She had said cash was a little over 500,000 right now, but we have a couple advances being paid back today, and obviously sales tax isn't in, but, so, I think.
Any word on the jail revenue from the other counties?
He's gotten in,
Giving-
he's actually still anticipating, I think 100,000 in, he's still hoping to get this year.
This year?
So if he does get that in, he'll be over, because right now he only has 16,000 to collect yet, and he's anticipating like 104. And then his other jail sheriff's fees lines, he's over collected by 20, and he's still thinking he may get another 10 in that line. So there's some lines that will probably be adjusted up. Our 97,000 is still in that number for our Medicaid that we had said potentially if they needed it, if our numbers didn't go through, that we would move
The
97.
97,000 still included in the 17?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So, I think we're gonna be tracking that we don't need it unless you guys wanna move it. Any other, she's got quite a few that are, over right now that she will adjust as of the 30th, so.
Will we make adjustments on the 26th, or will we do that next year?
The only adjustments we'll make on the 26th is it'll probably just be any year-end cleanup, which is usually pennies and dollars for PRS, Medicare, salaries is usually the only things we'll have for cleanup on the 26th. Anything that isn't receipted in, it'll all be carryover. Like if that money doesn't come in by the time she changes it, it'll be receipted in for next year. It'll be carryover.
So we'll have discussions on the overs next.
Yeah, I'd like to, once
Yeah, go ahead.
Stacy's
Go ahead.
done, we'll talk.
Good.
You done?
Yep.
Okay.
Mike, it's my first time through.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We had a joke in Mike's office. This is your last, after the first of the year, you can't say that anymore. I just had to say it for the heck.
So I'll talk slow.
It's his first day on the planet.
Yes.
Remember, I'm a politician, I have half the brain.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk slow.
Wow.
That's what
I'm
you
not
told
sure.
me.
You don't give it back when you're done, either.
So,
So, you know.
I did invite the auditor over today to discuss this, because I do think there are some things, but she wasn't able to make it. As recently as November, we were told that our total income will be 16.8. I think it's on tape. We are, as of today, at $17 million. As Stacy mentioned or talked about, we have not yet posted sales tax. That sales tax number will be someplace in the range of $790. $50 comes out for our bond payment, putting us, based on today's number at 17, putting us at about 17.7. If we've got 100,000 additional from the sheriff, which is likely, that is 17.8. And there are about $50,000 at least of over things that were understated, actually on the income statement, that need to be moved back into recognizing the fact that they're here. So my best calculation at this point in time is someplace about 17.9. We would make certainly different decisions at 16.8 than we would at 17.9. So what I would propose, we're gonna meet one more time this year. There's a couple of things that I think are priorities that I'd like to at least talk about, so we could maybe get them approved when we're certain of what the income is. And that is, so we've been basing everything on 17.4. And again, my calculation is someplace in the range of 17.9, $500,000. I'd like to put $100,000 into the rainy day fund, stabilization fund, and put $150,000 aside for potentially hiring a human resource director that we've talked about on a lot of occasions, but have never put that money aside. Again, that conversation is based on presentations that we've had here as far as the need for having an HR person, the fact that virtually every county around us has an HR person, and the fact that I'm real concerned that, we've got some potential liability if we don't. So, if the number comes in significantly above 17.4, I would propose that we take 250 of it and put it aside for budget stabilization and potentially a human resource person. That would leave 250 above and beyond what we thought we were gonna have in the first place in a form of carryover. So that's my suggestions at this point.
Yeah, so we have the 26th, we can add.
We have one more meeting, yeah, to do that, but I just wanted to lay that groundwork so that, if it does come in at $400,000 more than we thought, that at least those two items, we would seriously consider putting aside.
Yeah, and I just I'd like to add a couple comments, thinking ahead. I'd like to come up with a number that is a goal for the budget stabilization fund. So, and carryover. Two examples. One, if we get to $1 million in budget stabilization, maybe that's the number. So we're at 500, we're working our way there. Early month or two ago, the carryover was just thrown around and as none to 300,000. That gets everybody a little nervous. So maybe we should shoot for a couple $1 million carryover. And to me, if we had a $2 million carryover and $1 million in the budget stabilization fund, it makes the decisions of spending money a lot easier.
Yeah.
So if we can have that discussion, there's some targets. Now, we're not gonna get there overnight, but maybe over a couple year period of time or something, we could get there. So I think it's a little misleading for all the county departments to think that, well, we've got 300,000 carryover, so we're just gonna spend it. Yes, we're gonna spend it, but we wanna put the rainy day fund where it needs to be. We wanna have a carryover cushion where it needs to be. And so we all have to work together, because the best thing for the county employees that we can do is keep the county finances in order, and then when the rainy day comes, if you're a county employee, we have this money to help transition through that tough time. And without that, it's not gonna be fun. So I'd just like to come up with some number that we can agree to.
What's the cumulative carryover at this point?
I have that one, I think she mentioned at Budget Commission, the last one we went to was gonna be at $1 million.
Okay.
So
So Tony, try to bring it up to a couple million, which I absolutely agree with. But, to make certain that we take care of.
if we agree to that, then when we make these decisions, we
Right.
can.
Yep, I agree.
And we have these big receivables as well.
Yeah, and then let's take a look at those.
And,
Yeah.
Wolf Creek,
I agree, yeah.
so those.
Can you get us those by the 26th?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we have them, but officially.
Yeah.
But to Commissioner Thomas's point, I think that you not only got to consider the carryover, but also what's on the balance sheet that's out there, So let's say that between receivables and carryover, we want to have 2.5 or whatever the number might be, so that we're not just always relying on carryover. We know we've got this other money coming. if we need to get to it.
I'm good, it's great.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Do you have anything else for?
Tiffin and Seneca Economic Partnership meeting last night, kind of their annual meeting, full board. I think maybe I'll let Nick speak to it later on, but we did have a meeting, had a good group of people there, and I'll let Nick do what he does and kind of give us a summary of that meeting at the end. Don't want to steal any thunder.
He looks like he's full of thunder too.
Really stopped in the museum yesterday for the Christmas lights, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was good, and you can just stay in there for a long time.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of watch my time, and then I'll let Shane comment, but we went over to Clyde last night for the celebration of the state championship of the football team, but yeah, it was a good week.
Yeah, I'll just pick up from there, and you know, I got a little, I don't know, 9-year-old tour guide at the museum that's dressed like a little Mary Santa Claus or something, and she was great. She you know, it's just fun to see the enthusiasm for the kids too at the museum, and you know, we went upstairs and to the animal room, and it's just a lot of fun, and 20-some trees, and really, shout out to the museum for putting that, and hundreds of volunteer hours.
Oh.
I mean, I don't like to decorate my own tree, let alone 27. So, the Clyde event was really, really special. I mean, you don't get many moments like that as an elected official to go and witness the incredible gratitude shown by those young men to their community, their teachers, their coaches, each other. So just a special event. It's really nice, and of course we share that school district. So Sandusky County Commissioner, Seneca County Commissioner, Mayor of Green Springs, Mayor of Clyde, all there, and just a show of support, unity, and good job for those guys. So can't say enough for that. That was neat. One topic that's a little, you know, not just good news, it's just a little hard work. The story arc on the comp plan, this all started before, I think even before you were in office, Mike, that they started talking about the comprehensive plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we inherited the trajectory of we're going to do a comp plan. And then countywide, city, county, parks joined in. And so this has been since I've been in office, it's been going on. Selection of the consultants, steering committee meetings, public input, feedback loop, surveys, all this has been going on for a while. And we're in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go. And so we have another public feedback loop, and that's kind of the presentation of where the comp plan's at. You know, we've spent a lot of money. You know, my commitment is if we're going to do a comp plan, let's put the time in, let's make it the best plan we can get out of it. You know, because we spent a lot of money. Right now, I feel like we're hung up on a couple issues that I'm not comfortable moving the comp plan forward till we resolve. One, as it relates to the green energy. We've gotten some pushback on that, and I would say justifiably so. Not the words that I would have chosen. And then as it relates to the landfill, I think we need to be thoughtful there as well. So I pulled that section out, made a few phone calls, redrafted it, and sent it out. Got very little feedback on that, but you know, we're still stuck because I'm not comfortable moving it forward myself. It'll come to us to be adopted, and so we need to figure out a way to get it unstuck.
The language in those two sections.
Well, yeah, this is what I handed you was just my shot at taking a look at the green energy section. So, I'd invite either one of you to take that on, and try and get something that's workable so that we can just kind of get past this sticky point. There is the opportunity to just take it out and not address it at all. There are some people in the steering committee that, want us to at least address it. And obviously the controversial part is on utility scale energy facilities. And, the language I used was large-scale solar and wind projects should be supported only when home rule approval is restored, balancing local concerns with property rights. If projects occur in Seneca County prior to restoration of home rule, we should seek ways to capitalize on this new industry. I think that's, essentially where we're at, talking about referendum issues. But I'm happy to have somebody else take a shot at that and get some support behind it.
Well, my thought about it after I read this, and I thought it was well thought out, is that in the spirit of moving the comprehensive plan forward, that maybe we ought to say something to the effect of there is significant controversy within the community regarding alternative energy projects. And we can't conclusively make statements about where we're at on this project until we have a consensus, or we can get to a consensus. And that maybe we ought to get folks on both sides of the issue involved in a task force to talk about this, to come up with some language. So this section of the comprehensive plan is not complete at this point, but the decision based on our research would indicate that there needs to be more discussion before we come up with a conclusive statement. So, to move the plan forward, let's form, if you don't want to get anything done, form a committee, right? Let's form some type of a group that can look at this on a more in-depth basis, include representative from the wind companies, include representative from solar companies if they wish, include some of the general population, include some leaseholders, to make sure that it is a fully vetted process to come up with some type of a solution. So, in the spirit of trying to move it forward and get this thing completed, I don't think we eliminate the section, but I think we say we really haven't been able to come to anything that is a conclusion regarding the thoughts of the community. Let's keep that as an open item.
Yeah.
So, just so the public understands, so Charlene, how many pages is this project? How many pages is the plan? A couple hundred?
Oh, Lord.
Hundreds.
It's not in its final stages
But it's a
yet.
couple hundred
It's gonna be
pages.
very large with maps and everything else, and I do have a couple comments to go in with what Commissioner
Go
Kirschner
ahead.
said.
Yeah.
But when speaking with CT Consultants, our consultant, I say, we're gonna put a little hold on this. Committee needs to really pay attention to 4.5. We've had a lot of comment. They wanna really pay attention to it. They totally agree with that. They understood that process. They wanted me to make sure that I shared with you that you could put whatever you want in that section to hold it for the time being. And it's not set in stone. We can move forward and we can come back and edit it before the final draft is approved. So if you have an idea of what you want as your placeholder in that section, and it could be something as simple as saying, we're interested in renewable energy, but at this point in time, it's a controversial issue in Seneca County, and we are forming a task force to review this and come up with our priority on it. It could be something as simple as that, while they continue to move forward. It's your decision and the steering committee's decision. I'm just the facilitator, administrator, getting the job done. But it's a great way to kind of keep things rolling. So I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. So.
Yeah, it's a very fluid situation because we don't know if these projects are being built. We don't know if home rule is going to be restored. We don't, so it's kind of the worst moment to try and map a plan because there's so much uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the best way to
One thing
deal
you
with
brought
that.
it up because it's something we gotta deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in the scheme of for discussion, a 200-page report, this is one section that we're talking about.
This is 2 paragraphs.
And so, I like the idea of just, green energy. We have to, that's a broad term. It includes wind, but it includes solar, all kinds of things.
Hydro.
Okay, so if we could just word it, and then kind of what Mike, and then have a further discussion, that's great. It's not gonna hold anything up, right? And when you say final plan, even if we insert this 6 months from now, so what, right? It's online, we just go in and we change that section,
Yeah.
and we all approve it, and
As the keeper of the document, we can go in and make the edit and put the revision date in, so not a problem.
and it's not gonna, right, so, I don't know, that's our feedback to you, this is good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the
that-
strategic plan could conclude that we just have not been able to agree on what the exact language should be regarding green energy. And that, you know, that we will continue to look at it and add it to the plan at a time when we feel we've got consensus.
I'm prepared to support that,
Yeah.
if you wanna keep things moving. So I'll follow your lead on it, but
Yeah, I just don't want us to be hung up here, you know, that's my
Yeah.
only, my concern.
can we put
But-
something like that in there and just keep things moving?
Give me
Circle
what-
back with the caveat that we're going to not sweep it under the rug, but, you know, we might, it may not be tomorrow till we deal with this.
I would request that whatever you decide, just put it in writing to me, via email, it's perfect. Then I can communicate that with the consultant and with the rest of the steering committee. I can tell you what has been responded back to me from both of the cities aspects, and they're both keeping their green renewable energy sections as is and intact in their sections. So,
Within the cities.
within the cities, yes. So that's what they have chosen to do. So you may wanna look at what their point says in the plan, and you may wanna word it like that, cause theirs may not be worded as in-depth as the county's is.
Can you send us that language?
I think
It's
you
in
already
there,
have
it's in there,
it.
we have it, sure.
Yeah, you already have it,
Okay,
but I
I'm sorry.
can, yeah, it's in the Dropbox, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I have it, yeah. Okay.
All right, so that, I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
you know, we were having a conversation of that.
That's good.
In session here. The other thing, I want to congratulate Tony for his reelection as county commissioner, or his election as county commissioner.
Yeah. You don't have any competition, right?
Just you every
You
day.
are- Yeah, I went pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Well, I appreciate
Tony was the
that,
only,
Yeah, Shane and I have run, 3 or 4 times, and we've always had competition, and here you just walk in.
and they say looks
And
don't
I'm still
matter.
learning.
Yeah.
I appreciate the public giving me a little opportunity to figure this out, so. Yeah, no, looking forward to 5 more years, I guess.
5 more years.
But on a more somber note, the sheriff has not filed for
Right.
re-election, and, you know, we've been very blessed to have a very effective sheriff for a long time. And I want to make sure that we say our appreciation to him. We'll have some time to do that yet, obviously, we've got another year with him, but it's concerning, obviously, to us, because administration of that jail is a huge task. And he completely bears that in his capacity, and doesn't lean on us very much at all. And so, you know, it's
Well,
a big, important,
It's a web down in the
Elected.
opioid task force and
yeah.
mental health and just everything that's going on. The sheriff has a huge impact.
Big piece of our budget and big part of what
Yeah,
people
it's
expect
good-
from the county,
that's a
so.
good point.
But Jeannie is filed, so.
Sheriff will be home cooking, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
She comes home from work.
All right, we'll move on. Old business, we have Mike Ditto here. Can you give us an update on the capital budget?
Sure, thank you, Commissioners, appreciate that very much. We had a very good working group meeting back in November to talk about your priorities for the capital budget for the county. Representative Bill Reineke was here. We've been working with his office and the legislative leaders in both the House and the Senate to at least lay a little bit of groundwork for what you're going to be looking at for priorities. Even though we're about 3.5 months away from the capital budget being complete and sent to the governor for his signature, we are probably about 3.5 weeks away from actually making our formalized submission to the General Assembly for what projects we'd like to see funded. So based on that meeting, we've had 4 specific projects that I think the county is going to look at with different funding levels for each. So this week, before the holiday gets here, I'll be sending you a document that will summarize everything from that meeting and my conversations with legislators since our working group meeting back in November. And there'll just be a couple of questions to answer on what the final cost will be for these projects, what do you want to specifically request on state funding, and most importantly, what your number 1, 2, 3, and 4 priorities are. I think a rank order will be in order to give our legislators and our team the best opportunity to prioritize those projects. So the ball is rolling, and I've been working with Charlene. She's been very helpful and kind of organizing things with me, and we'll get that to you before week's end.
Okay, good. Good. Anything else happening in Columbus we should be aware of?
Stay tuned. We had a lot of, as you know, the filing deadline for candidates was yesterday across the state, so you'll have a new crop of legislators and others running for president, but the capital budget is what's going to take up most of the oxygen over the next 3 months. And I think that you're still looking at probably about $150 to $160 million for the entire state of Ohio for capital budget projects. It's very consistent with what's happened in the last several years, but I think that certainly will take up most of the oxygen as we get into the spring.
Thank you.
And when did you expect to vote on that?
On the capital budget?
Yeah.
Typically, with the timeline that we've discussed and talked to the legislative leaders about is by January 10th of this year, or excuse me, of 2020, so just a few weeks away, that's when the legislative leaders need to have all of their requests from the 132 legislators in the General Assembly. And then that bill will likely be introduced with the sort of an agreed upon proposal, likely by the first part of February, and they'll have action likely, again, these are all tentative timelines, by mid-March, and is expected to be signed and sealed by the governor by April 1st. Always subject to change in matters of the General Assembly, but that's what they're expecting right now.
Okay, good.
And so far, not many folks have requested anything to the legislative leadership, so our time frame is solid, and we'll certainly have everything done and ready to go per your requests.
So 160 divided by 88 is about 1.7, that's all.
Yeah, a lot of people like to try and do that. I wish it worked out that way. That would be great.
Cool. Any other old business? New business.
Reminder, our meeting on the 26th is at 1,
Okay.
so we don't forget that. And I didn't know if you wanted to mention coffee with Commissioner tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We've got coffee with the commissioner tomorrow, our first one. I think this idea originated with you, Mike, didn't it?
Well, we talked about doing different things,
Yeah.
and having different, trying to figure out if we ought to have office hours, or if we ought to go out in the public and whatever, but here we go. So-
Yeah, yeah. So just trying to be
Jimmy.
out and available to people. We're gonna move it around. It'll be different commissioners, different locations, so it's accessible to everybody who might wanna come out. If it's intimidating to come into the office, we'll certainly be out in the public. And, you know, even with this said, we're always willing to meet with anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And we've done that. I've sat on people's porches. I've been, to lunch, breakfast, whatever it takes.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
Well, here's the thing, we have these ideas up here, right? We got guys like Jimmy and Stacy that implement them, so we gotta thank them for doing that.
Jimmy,
They get the job done.
I think I'll be round 2, and I'm gonna go to Fostoria, to the Learning Center. So I'm looking
that's
forward
good.
to that, coffee over there, and
Good.
we don't have the date set yet. You're on deck.
Yeah, we're on the radio tomorrow, WBVI and WFOB, I think.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Early in the morning,
Awesome.
7 o'clock, so, 2-year stations in.
Shout out, Shane, you were on this morning, 60th.
60
Wanna make any
years at
comments on that?
WTTF.
12:30 today, 60 years ago, TTF went on the air.
The Wright boys were there
Yeah.
at that point, right?
They're playing music from the 50s on TTF today.
1959.
And when I was in the museum, the room to the left is decorated in the 50s theme.
Yeah.
Did you go in there?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I lived it.
I was there. Mr. Brightbar remembers that.
Sort of.
All right, good
So,
deal.
thanks, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Jess at Bailey Wicks. What's our time tomorrow, Jim?
I believe it is 11 to 12.
11 to 12.
Yes.
So Jess has been really great. And
She's donating the coffee.
Yeah,
It's great, yeah.
no taxpayers will be harmed.
Special Christmas blend.
New business.
Okay, I have a reduction request from Job and Family Services to their Public Assistance Fund, between various lines, supplies, advertising, hospitalization, travel, equipment, facilities, PRS, repairs and services. She's asking for a total reduction of $443,904.90. My next one is supplemental appropriation. They are requesting, let's see, $27,000 in their children's services shared cost, and they are looking for $10,000 in their assistance line, and this is in their children's services fund, so for a total of $37,000. And then I have a request from Paul. He's asking for an additional $2,500 in his DRETAC salaries line. He had an employee resign, so he had a payout of vacation. So he's gonna use his DRETAC money to get that employee paid out on vacation, so that'll cover him for the rest of the year. I think it was a total of maybe $4,000 for the vacation payout, so.
Do we have any type of accrual for earned vacation hours? I mean, if everybody, we got one person left and takes that, but if we suddenly have 4 or 5 people leave, that would be significant money. Is there any accrual, any place that allots for that? Should there be?
Should there be, yeah. We discussed it years ago about setting up something for that purpose.
I mean, unfunded liability, right?
Right, because there are funds that are grant funded, so if you all of a sudden have a big payout, the funds may not be there in some of the non-general funds, which will always in turn come to the general fund if their fund doesn't have it.
Yeah, I think discussion for another day, but we should look at whatever unfunded
Liabilities.
liabilities we have out there, and at least take a look at it. Okay.
And we do try, departments do try to let us know as far in advance as they know.
Is that what the HR person would do, Mike?
Yeah, that would be one of the things they would come to us to talk about, certainly.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, I have a resolution authorizing a fund advance repayment from the CDBG 17 to the general fund, $28,993. And then I have a fund advance repayment for the CDBG for $29,900.
Is that more income?
That's more cash.
Uh-huh.
So you're not quite to I told you so yet.
I have a resolution amending the board's orders of November 26th, resolution 219-243. This is the general fund budget we had passed. The auditor had called and said that the increases for the auditor salary and the treasurer's salaries were not reflected in the budget we passed. I missed it. I think we got all of the other electeds that got the increases in there, but the auditors and the treasurers, I did miss, so that's what we're changing in the general fund budget. And then I have a resolution amending the board's orders for the non-general fund budget. There was a typo in 2 of the requests from departments, one for the sheriffs, one for the engineers. I think their request came to me at $75,000 and they only needed $7,500, so they want to take a 0 off that. And the one for other expense, is, it was just missed off the budget, so she's doing an additional 7,500 for non-general. So if those are the only lines we missed this year, I think we did good. I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. This is a 2012 excavator. Sold it on Gov Deals for $31,100. I have a resolution appointing new board member to the Seneca County Revolving Loan Fund Board. I'd like to appoint David Zach to the Seneca County Revolving Loan Fund Board. Term expiring December 31st, 2023. And then I have a resolution appointing a member replacement to the Seneca County Revolving Loan Fund Board. Steve Vendette to the Seneca County Revolving Loan Fund Board. His term will replace Philip Neist to the term December 31st, 2021.
This kid's a new commercial entrepreneur.
And then I have a resolution, the addendum to the cooperative development agreement with the city of Tiffin and Hopewell, Eden, and Clinton Township. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were at the meeting. This is basically a 1-year extension to October 11th, 2020.
Has that been, is that signed by the
All
rest of
the
them?
I don't
entities,
think the townships have yet, I think Amy sent it to us first.
the city has signed,
Maybe Amy does before the townships.
prosecutor obviously, but it doesn't look like the trustees have signed this yet.
Okay. I was under the impression that we were gonna see it last. That
That's
we
what I
wanted,
thought too.
that the townships were going to act on that first, and then we would ratify their decision.
It's kind of their decision. yeah.
It is their
No, I
decision.
think that's
Do you
right.
want us to hold this off then, and
Yeah.
hold it?
That's the way I feel about it, unless there's some urgency that we act.
Could the townships approve it tonight? They'll all be there, or theoretically, they'll all be.
There wasn't any opposition to the extension. I just, from a procedural standpoint, we're not dictating what the townships are doing. We're,
I think you should be able to, it'd be a
Ba-
public meeting.
we want it to come to us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's a good catch. I think it's their decision, we would ratify it.
Yeah, Jerry had just sent it to us on the 17th and said attached, please find the addendums to the cooperative development agreement with the city of Tiffin, Clinton, Eden, and Hopewell. The commissioners should pass a resolution to formally acknowledge and accept these addendums. There are 3 originals of each addendum. Please have the commissioners sign all 9 documents in return. We would appreciate a copy of the resolution as well. Once we have obtained the signatures of the township trustees, we will provide your office with the original addendum. So it sounds like he wants us to sign it, and he'll have them sign the original.
Carly Horse, I would be willing to entertain it. I would be willing to talk about a motion that says we approve the addendum pending the signatures of each of the townships. At which time we'll execute it.
I can add that word in and re-put it for you guys.
Okay.
All right, then I have a resolution authorizing an amendment for the contract between the city of Tiffin and the Seneca County Prosecutor's Office. Let's see what has changed. Increased the 2020 to, the original was $185,640, and the new amount is $189,352. Payments to be made quarterly. I have a resolution authorizing the current president of the board of Seneca County Commissioners to sign the first addendum to the cooperative use agreement, Tiffin History Museum Improvement, Seneca County Museum for the state capital budget funding through the Office of the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. This is that $50,000 that Reineke helped get for 25 for us and 25 for the Civil War Museum. So that is all I have.
But I just wanted to say the resolution we have for the prosecutor's office is a real good example of cooperation and coordination between the city and the county. Otherwise, there would be a separate Tiffin prosecutor and a separate county prosecutor. This is much, much more efficient.
This is our third year? Third year.
Yeah.
So I'll accept the motion as modified by Mike's motion. Yep, second. Okay, any discussion on the new business beyond what we've had?
Do we need to, so we can just sign it, whatever, right? We don't have to do it here after this motion. Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah, there was no opposition at the public meeting, and my sense was that the townships were gonna act on this and then send it to us. If procedurally we need to get ahead of that, I'm not opposed, but my preference would be that townships approve it and that comes to us.
I agree.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Teresa?
Yes.
Commissioner Pershing?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes. All right, any other new business? Public comment.
I just want to have, maybe give Nick a chance to talk about TCEP a minute here, just to follow up.
Give Nick a minute.
Free.
Take only a minute. We'll see. Just really quick, thanks, Mike, for bringing that up. TCEP had our budget and scope meeting yesterday. It went very well. Our board accepted our scope and our budget for 2020, which we're always excited about, keeping on the mission of providing traditional economic development services for Seneca County, as well as economic development and community services, or community development services, excuse me, for the city of Tiffin. So very excited about all of that. I also want to share our annual meeting, our yearly meeting where we talk about the great things that have happened in 2019. That is set for February 27th. We'll be getting more details about that soon, but a little bit earlier than we usually do. But that's not a bad thing. It'll be exciting. There's a lot of great great things that have happened this year that we'll be excited to talk about. So.
Perfect, thank you very much.
How many
Thank
people
you.
are on the board, approximately?
Oh.
Do you know the mix of that?
Our board is made up. There's the seat for the county and for the city. It's made up of private investors from our commercial and other other business sector. But I'm sorry, I don't have the number on.
And then,
top of my
well,
head.
you're on exec, right, Mike?
Yes,
You're exec. Aaron's on exec.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So there's about 7 members on the executive
7.
committee. Yeah.
And who's current board?
The current board president is
Lynn
Lynn Detterman, and her term expires here in the next couple of months. Dean Keller from First National Bank of Sycamore
Okay, so
will
7.
be
there
taking
were
over.
about 35
Yeah.
people at the board meeting last
So
night.
it was a
But it
good
floats
turnout.
because if you're a donor at a certain level, you have a board seat.
Mhm.
so.
Okay. So Keller's incoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're very excited. Very be sad to see Lynn go. She's been an excellent chair, but I think she lives in some good hands with Dean Keller. We're always excited for the next thing. So continue on the mission.
All right.
Thank
One
you.
more Shout out. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Charlene, do you have anything?
Noah dinner.
Noah, yeah.
Want to bring this up.
Thanks.
So, I think this is the 11th year, Mike? 11th or
At
12th
least,
year?
yeah.
Yeah, the Noah Christmas Dinner out at Camden. And I won't get into all that, but just a reminder that you can sign up. There's 3 settings out there at different times, and there's still a little bit of room, although they're getting close to maxing out.
Yeah, well, and the perception is that, this is not for only low-income folks. This is for anyone who might be alone that day. The kids are not coming home, or you don't really have anybody at the house to be with, or you have a single family or a single apartment in a nursing home, and you can still be mobile. You are more than welcome. So anybody that wants to be there for any reason is welcome.
Good. All right. Anything else? Yes. Charlene.
So Regional Planning just has a couple things. Our annual meeting is February 12th. Invitations went out yesterday, so you should see some kind of fun little Evite that came to you. Might say Punch Bowl on it. Those who have been around for a little bit with us know we send via Evite. and it says Punch Bowl, so if you could respond to that. Our annual meeting will be at Sost in New Riggle, so that's gonna be a fun, event. Our executive committee members, chose that location, so shout out to those guys. The other things of importance are the almost final draft of the building management plan has been distributed to the commissioners, Stacy and John, for their review to go back to Godsman Group. It still needs a little tweaking, there's some grammar issues, but it's to the point where Craig and his team was really happy to just send it over and say, give us your thoughts, and we will work back forward from there. So we're rounding the corner on that. Again, fourth quarter, we're almost done. So those are two key things we just want to share with you for now.
So I'm on the nominating committee for regional planning, so if anybody wants an office. Seeking participation.
So we had the comprehensive plan and the statewide plan and the building plan, and do we have any plans for 2020, or we finally have a plan?
Plan to execute.
Acceptance of all plans and then time to figure out who's executing what. So yeah, fun stuff.
Mr. Frankert, any report from Adams Township?
Well, certainly. Glad to see Shane and Tony last night celebrating the Clyde Flyers night. Great night seeing the kids there. Probably the aha moment, or the moment that really hit home, was when Green Springs and Clyde put together a proclamation that spoke volumes, because it's been a long time. I mean, it's early 70s emerged, and there's always been a little animosity there, but I thought that was a very good presentation last night. And the commissioners from Sandusky County and the whole group we put together, what a great night. One thing I'd like to add too, separate from that, is that if you're willing to want to put a task force together for the comprehensive plan to look at the green energy, because as you guys have spoke, that it is a large, encumbersome plan along with the green energy part. But it's not only the wind and solar taking the forefront. We also have renewable energy in Fostoria with the power plant. You have ADM in Fostoria with the biofuel. So to me, that's probably underneath that aspect of it also. So I think that, having some perspective on that, if you guys see fit to put a task force together, I'd be willing to serve on that.
Good.
Logan?
Yes.
Anything?
Yep. Logan Wolf, Fostoria. I'd like to mention that tonight the Seneca County Board of Health is scheduled to vote on whether or not to renew or deny the operating permit for Sunny Farms landfill. That will be at their meeting tonight. The location has been changed due to an expected high turnout. That's going to be at Chris Holm Auditorium at Franks Hall at Tiffany University. And we're hoping to see as many people as possible to show support for concerned citizens in the community. There will be time on the agenda for concerned citizens representing the community to speak, followed by representatives from the landfill before that vote takes place. And I also encourage everyone to take a look at Tuesday night's news report from WTOL titled Regulated Pollution, which has a lot of good information about the situation going on at Sunny Farms landfill, as well as their after the news discussion where they talk about it a little bit more. Thank you.
Logan, I just want you to make sure you don't misconstrue tonight's lack of attendance by some of us, because we've got a township trustees meeting that starts at 6:30 or 7, and
Understandable.
we need to be at that. So I just want you to know that we certainly still have an interest in had that not been a
Jimmy
conflict.
will be there covering it.
We may, somebody may show up a little bit, but
Okay.
it's not because of disinterest, it's because of scheduling conflict.
Okay. Yeah. Understandable. Thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely. Ben Nutter, Sunny Farms Landfill. Just wanted to relate to the commissioners that our license is expected to be taken up by the Seneca County General Health District Board this evening. We have received notification from the Ohio EPA that we are in substantial compliance, and they've relayed that to the board. So the consent agreement that we're operating under, we are in compliance with that consent agreement. We're walking in lockstep with that, and that includes things like best business practices or best management practice, which will be a gas reclamation plant that will, clean up the gas and make it usable, and we won't even have any flares or any of those things. Temporarily, we're installing a new flare that's higher and does a better job of dispersing any issues with sulfur dioxide and those kinds of things. But all of that is within the comprehensive consent order, and we're, again, in full compliance with that, and we continue to work to improve every day. And if you ever have any questions or would like to come back out or want to see the plans for the gas reclamation plant, those kind of things, as I get them, I'll share that with the
What's the
commissioners.
timeline on the reclamation?
I mean,
project? Is it a
so
couple years kind of thing?
it's a couple-year project.
Yeah.
The money has been approved, so that's, so it's happening. One of the things about it is it takes a considerable amount of time to get all the parts and pieces together
Sure.
to make the plant. So, but we, it's in the planning development stage currently. So, and we want to make sure those plants exist, but we want to make sure we're using the best technology and putting the best type of plant in there. There's other industries that have them. There's a couple out in Nevada and different places. So we've sent engineers to look at those and kind of want to make sure we have the best technology available so that we have something we can be proud of.
Excellent.
Good, thank you.
All right, anything else for the good of the order?
I just got one comment, this is for Tony. I do remember the 50s. I got my first job in 51, big, real job, and I was making 90 cents an hour. But I got a raise in a few weeks, a 2.5 cent raise, so.
Where was that job?
Pardon?
Where did you work in 1951? That's you,
47.
yeah, you retired from
47 years.
1951 at National.
But I went to work for the government a couple of years after that and took another cut in pay.
We know how that is. It's not about the money.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you.